GWSCPE entry, GWSCPE model. So here we have one new confirmation of our trading strategies. We saw that there was, in this case, a trend impulse formed, and then this projection arrow circle pointing to a circle limit. You can see here that the price did the first time to engage with it. That was what created this sell base here. Could not break the projection arrow. Okay, after triple test and rejection, the market went down to complete the impulse projection for the day that had been projected from 3238 to its deviation limit break at 3235. So it was projected that the market should go all the way down to 3205. If you look here, the market went down to complete that move. Okay, stopping at 3205. You see, it could not break 3205, but went as low as testing 3201. After which it gained momentum, which is this move we are seeing going back up. That's because there is a circle limit here for the projection from up here. So that entry resulted in profit, which so far you can see the trade taken has been profitable. Now, after the entry from the level at 3205 that resulted in the several profit taken, these are entries taken above 3205. Okay, buying all the way up to 3222. You see that again? So these entries were all massive profit. And then after that, new entries were taken again. And that is what has resulted in, so far, the much profit that has been made. So now, we understand that when we have a projection made, the market has a decision to make itself. And whatever it is, we have to understand the projection, the entry projection based on our entry strategy. So here we have a new projection that is to be made. Apart from the fact that this was a break and retest of the trend impulse projection arrow, okay, which is supposed to gain momentum to push the price all the way up in a power move. We saw the rejection here and the price returning all the way up here. So here now we are looking at a potential for this correction impulse to close. Now, wherever this correction impulse close, we will have the correction high set that we will use to determine the total move for a BPO structure. So, because this is a trend impulse and this was also a major trend impulse, we do not have yet a minor trend impulse. So, we might be seeing the possibility of a minor trend impulse form anytime soon, but that will have to be after this correction impulse has formed. Now, when this correction impulse has closed, we expect to see, having formed a BPO structure, a return of price back down by a double of the total move of this correction impulse. Just like we traded previously, that brought the price all the way down. This was a correction impulse, and it was after the closing. You can see the closing here. Okay, price pumped up first of all from the CROL of the correction impulse, showing it was not yet ready to go back into trend. Okay, so afterwards the price moved after the pump. Okay, after the pump, the price came back down, attempted to break the CROL. This first time didn't break, but this was a break. So after the break, it was supposed to be the move, but the move again was delayed. There was a pump back above the CROL, and also the correction high was rejected. See the correction high here? It was rejected triple times, and this was also continuation of testing and rejecting the correction high. That was before the market returned into the BPO structure that was to do a double move back into trend of the total correction impulse that formed the BPO structure. And when that happened, we had anticipated the market going over 1,000 pips since the correction move. The correction move was up to 500 pips. So coming first to fully recover the correction impulse, since correction impulse must be recovered 100%. After that, we know that the price was to move back into trend and continue the move to trend. So here now we have the same thing happening. So we can see price is coming back into the level, which means that there is certainty of this turning into that correction impulse that will give us the BPO structure. Hence, we are looking forward to trade once again when this impulse projection arrow here is broken, and that is going to coincide with our sell entry. So let's get ready to sell 1.6. It has happened already. So you see how fast that was. So 2.138. We are looking at continuing that move. So we'll do another entry at 3228. So right now we are preparing for the move of the okay. So let's take this entry so we can multiply our entries. So now we have 3.2, and our last entry for the trend will be 6.4. All right. So now we see that the market returned to retest the trend impulse projection arrow, and it is about to close. So if that candle closes, though it has a long life, okay, if it closes the way it is looking like doing, then we are going to have finally that entry. Okay, we're going to have finally the last entry for our trend continuation. That's the market reversing from correction into trend and double the BPO structure form. So the correction impulse that form the BPO structure will become the correction impulse for us to calculate the total move of the BPO structure. So which means the market will have to reverse back into trend by a double of the total move of the correction impulse. So that is what we are looking at trading next. So we have 3201 all the way up to 3230. So right now it is about 290 pips. So which means that we're expecting this market to go over 580 pips the moment we have this closing. Okay, if the market closes at this point, okay, though this is a long life candle, so now it is rejecting the projection arrow, just like the previous attempt here. You see the projection arrow for the trend impulse was rejected. Okay, so if it does a good rejection and turns around, then we are going to have over 300 pips whenever this correction impulse that is setting about forming the BPO structure closes. So right now the impulse is still looking strong. Correction impulse is still strong, alive, and active. And we understand that the structure we have taken our entry based on right now, okay, is the rejection of the projection arrow. That is what we have used to base our entry. So we have used this projection arrow to take all our entries. You can see all the entries are around the projection arrow. And we are holding this position right now because we want to see where there will be a closing. Okay, right now we want to hold to see until the impulse closes. So the impulse is yet to close. Okay, and we are holding until this impulse closes because right now we have not taken our last entry for a trend reversal. So this is still a correction ongoing, and this is the first major correction impulse that has moved from the rejection of the circle limit of today's downtrend projection, okay, at 3205. You see that? So these are the rejections that happen around the circle limit, and it gave us this first correction impulse to show that the first move down from 3235 is complete. Okay, so now we know that we want to see the end of this correction impulse. If this correction impulse is not yet ended, then we have an opportunity to make more profit on this current structure we are holding this trade for, okay, on this current correction structure. So we have opportunity to make more profit on it. However, if it closes, then we'll begin to have an expectation once again to trade in the trend reversal, which will go over, in this case, over 580 pips 580 pips from wherever the closing occurs. So we are going to project downwards move to 580 pips. So let's count 580 pips from here, 3230. Okay, it will take us to 3170 first of all. Okay, 3170. So 3162. It will take us all the way down to 3162. That's for what we are seeing right now. The price has the potential to go back down all the way to 3162. So while we are waiting for this correction impulse, okay, to close, we are trading the correction ongoing, which is based on the projection arrow of the previous major trend impulse. Okay, now that is one thing we see happening. Next thing we are looking at, okay, we saw here there was a trend, major trend impulse, a minor trend impulse. If we look at projection down from here, we expected to see a market go 300 pips, okay, from this minor trend impulse low formed here. So minor trend low that formed here, we expect to take price down to 300 pips, which is 3200. If you see that, the market near 3200, okay, before turning back up. So which means this move will still be complete downwards, okay? So all projections head downwards. All projections, major projections head downwards. Also agreeing with the day's trend projection, okay, from 3235. So let's get ready to place our next entry, okay? Let's look at that. Our last entry was 3222.22. So we'll take our next entry. Okay, 31. So 64. We'll take our next entry, 3122. That's our last entry based on trend projection, while correction is still ongoing. So we are still looking at the rejection of the projection arrow, keeping price from going into trend reversal. So while the trend reversal is delaying, we are waiting for our trend reversal last entry, and we are seeing the projection arrow acting as a support to keep correction ongoing, and if so, it extends further the possibility of a longer BPO structure. Right now, the BPO structure supports 580 pips of trend reversal yet to happen. So if the current candle fails to close as a termination of the current correction impulse, then we are going to see a longer correction. Okay, we are going to see a longer reversal back into trend based on an impulse. Okay, based on the BPO structure when this correction impulse is closed. Okay, so right now we see the correction still ongoing, and we are seeing momentous move. Okay, there is high volatility because the candle is within the last 3 minutes of its life, and in this last 3 minutes of its life, anything can happen. We are watching to see if it closes back into green. Let's look at that. At least we have a lot of margin. Let's look at that. So it's still on the red side, which means that there is potential that it could actually be the candle that closes, okay, this correction impulse, and makes us to have our BPO structure finally. So if it closes in a bearish way as it is right now, then we'll be having our correction, our BPO structure formed on its correction high here right now. So it's just 1 minute to go, and it's looking like this will happen. So let's begin to take our profit. Let's take our profit and get ready for the next entry. Okay, so we took all profits, and now we are back to waiting for this BPO structure to form, which will inform our next entry. So this is how we trade with the GWSCPE model, CC and Cybercops. We continue to show you how reliable, consistently profitable we can use our GWSCPE model. See you in our next demonstration.